I didn't become a trusted realtor relying on old data, and you won't become an informed home buyer relying on last year's pros and cons of living in Minneapolis list. So this year I am most excited to make this video because we have a lot of things changing and some people aren't even talking about half the things on this list. In this video, we're going to be covering some of the more obvious cons like winter and mosquitoes and all the things that you guys already love to remind me about Minnesota. We're also going to be touching on crime, how the city is changing, and also of course some of the amazing pros that make Minnesota home for me and so many others who love this state. If you're new to the channel, what's up guys? I'm Austin. I'm a local Minneapolis real estate agent living in the western suburbs, and I've been an agent for over 6 years, helping families relocate to this amazing state of 10,000 lakes via FaceTime, Zoom, in person, and that's truly my passion and the reason I've made this channel. So hopefully I provide some value to you, and if I do, you can repay me in the form of a subscribe or a comment below. Without further ado, let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's talk about our first pro, which is going to be money. There is a true effect in terms of cost of living that is driving people to states like Minnesota and the surrounding Midwest. The median home price in Minnesota is about $358,000, and the average home price in the United States is $380,000, but that's not what's interesting about this. What's very interesting about this is 44% of Minnesota households actually make more than $100,000 annually, and that is something that really sets Minnesota residents ahead in terms of their saving, their budgeting, and just their quality of life. The age of the average home buyer in the US is at its highest point in history at age 40, but do not fear, Minneapolis is ranked #1 in terms of friendliness to the first-time homebuyer, with over 50% of our residents owning a home under the age of 35. In markets like California, New York, Florida, you find that people have a constricting feeling around their house payment, and that limits them in terms of what they're able to do with their extra money. But in Minnesota, we have this beautiful blend of relatively affordable homes and an incredibly strong job market that allows us to out-earn our typical housing payment. Now, in terms of the job market, we're getting some conflicting data because according to the Star Tribune's newest publishing as of October 3rd, 2025, the number of Minnesotans unemployed for at least 6 months has nearly doubled since 2024. Now, with that said, I'm also able to cite websites that are saying there are growing industries, especially in Minnesota, healthcare and in-home healthcare being two of the biggest growers in terms of job market sectors here in Minnesota, along with tech development and education. Minnesota is also home to a surging blue-collar job market with outpacing demand for electricians and plumbers widespread across the Twin Cities. Okay, moving on to our next pro, we're gonna address the elephant in the room. When talking about crime and safety in the Minneapolis and surrounding areas, there's no question about it, Minneapolis went through some very tough years post-2020. But there's a changing in the tides when it comes to that topic, and I wanna tell you how it's changing in 25, 26, and beyond. 2025 data suggests that carjackings are down 47% year over year, and robberies are down respectively 40%. In other great news, Minneapolis for the first time since 2020 ended the year with more police officers than they had at the start of the year. MPD has added 76 police officers since the new year, and they're on pace to continue to grow through the end of 2025. Now look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Minneapolis in particular still has higher crime rates than all of the surrounding suburbs. We haven't quite returned to pre-pandemic levels of crime in the city. But what I will say is that the transformation needed to take place in order to get us back to those levels is at least starting. And I do believe that leadership somewhat has a plan to continue that goal, where it looked a little bit eerie in 2020 and 2021 in terms of what direction the city was going to be heading. The next pro of Minnesota is, let's just be honest, we're not super developed. We're not Chicago, we're not Miami, we're not Dallas, and we never will be. But what's cool about that is that we have no shortage of new businesses coming and seizing all the beautiful opportunities that the state has to offer. Some of the newest developments happening in Minnesota are coming in 2026, and they're going to provide incredible job stability, economic surges throughout the city, but also the companies that are moving here are actually kind of cool and are directly able to be benefited by the people who call Minnesota home. Mystic Lake Amphitheater is also expected to open in the summer of 2026. This project is a collaboration between Live Nation and Swervo Development Corp. It will be home to 2 of Minnesota's new social districts, which will allow you to walk outside with adult beverages. Its campus will be home to some of the most incredible names in music, and will also be located just a few miles away from Mystic Lake Casino, which is one of the bigger attractions in the southwest metro of Minneapolis. Solventum, which is a new Fortune 500 company in the healthcare space, is moving its headquarters to Eagan, and that's hopefully going to help retain and create even more jobs in the surrounding area. This development will be a huge catalyst in tourism, year-round activities for its civilians, and local economic growth. Besides Polaris and Red Wing, we also have more outdoor retailers moving to the city, with the Outdoor Retailer Trade Show now calling Minneapolis home. It's set to take place in August 2026 and will definitely be bringing a good amount of tourists, but also just people who live in more rural areas of Minnesota down into the city for another good excuse for us to get together. The next pro for Minnesota is going to be our outstanding healthcare. We are third somehow in the country in healthcare. I honestly was looking for that #1 spot this year. We were named the best state for long-term care and support. Also, Fox 9 reports in a recent poll of 100 of the best hospitals in the entire US, Minnesota was home to 12 of those, of course, one being the very famous Mayo Clinic down in Rochester, about an hour and a half south of Minneapolis. This last one is part of our slogan, but the land of 10,000 lakes. I just want to give an honorable mention to the greenery and lake life that we have here. So if you really enjoy the outdoors, if you enjoy fishing, if you're like me and you just enjoy walking with beautiful scenery around you so you can just unplug, Minnesota is perfect for that. And it doesn't come at the cost of living that so many other scenic states like Colorado, like Washington, like Upper California, those places come with such a premium on the price tag. In Minnesota, you can get that incredible scenery and you can get it at a more affordable cost. Now, without further ado, let's get to the most important con on this entire list, the one you've all been waiting for. I just lowered my chair on accident. Our coveted 6-month winter. Most years we are looking at snow on the ground from November through the end of April. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. And unfortunately, this isn't just wear a jacket, pack your mittens kind of cold. This is the car battery will freeze and your car won't start. And if there was any moisture in the air, your doors are frozen shut. But every Minnesotan knows better than that. So we all have homes with garages, and if you don't, I highly suggest that you move to a place with a garage. I also suggest you keep a bag of salt pellets in your trunk. This will not only help weigh down your tires and help you drive through the snow, but it'll also help in the event that you need to put salt under your tires if you've got yourself into a rut. Another thing about the winter that most people don't even consider is our energy bills are extremely high. If you're looking at a mortgage payment of $2,800 a month, you have to factor into the equation that in the winter months, it's not abnormal for your XL energy bill or your heating bill to be $300 or $400 every single month. I would also encourage everybody to hemorrhage a little more money on your fashion. I would definitely say skip out on the very expensive hats and gloves and go crazy on a very warm, puffy Sherpa or puffer coat. That will allow you to pretty much get through any Minnesota winter, and everyone here knows that is a must in your closet, even if it's only for half the year. As we get into the colder months, I will be dropping a video about how to properly enjoy the Minnesota winters. Moving on to con number 2, and this number might honestly shock you, and we're talking about the tax situation in Minnesota. Minnesota has some of the highest income taxes in the entire country, up to 9.85% just for state for top earners. Property taxes are also about 1% higher than the national average, but not horrible. Now, some of the trade-offs that come with this is you get excellent public services, you have great public schools, and the big kicker is the infrastructure. If you've ever visited Minnesota in months August or July, you will see that the orange cones are decorated like a Christmas tree amongst all the Minnesota streets. That said, we don't have nearly the traffic that other states have. Even with crazy closures of major highways, we still don't have the traffic of that of like a Houston, a Denver, nowhere near New York or LA. Honestly, we have one of the better traffic situations amongst the entire US. So if you're a heavy commuter, consider that most places are in these first and second ring suburbs will only be a 20 to 30 minute drive to and from the city. Another piece to the pie when it comes to having high taxes is one of the coolest changes coming to Minnesota in 2026, and that is the Paid Medical Leave Act that is coming as of January 1st, 2026. Nearly all employees, full-time, part-time, independent contractors, etc., should be covered in the new year and going forward for a paid medical leave, which is not something that we've had in the state of Minnesota in the past. This can cover up to 12 weeks for a new family looking to bond with their infant. It can be up to 20 weeks for a serious medical health condition. Employees who take that leave are also protected from being fired from their employer. In terms of how much you will get in benefits, there is a tiered formula to figuring that out, but it's somewhere between 55 and 90% of your typical annual earnings. Another major con that I don't see people talking about enough is that the Minnesota nice phenomenon is not what you think. It's just a little more complicated than that. People are very polite. For example, I will hold the door for you at a grocery store. I will pull over and help you if you got stuck in a ditch and it's your first time driving in snow. But a lot of people have noted that it's very hard to crack into a fun, easygoing social circle in the Minneapolis and surrounding area. This is something I've seen firsthand. When I go to other cities, it seems to be so easy to talk to other people because I believe other cities have so many transplants. But here in Minnesota, a lot of people, if you go up and try to talk to them, they're gonna try to keep you happy, but at arm's length. This can feel super cold and kind of hard to crack if you're new to the social scene here in the Minneapolis area. If you're looking to work around this, there is obvious answers to help. Minnesota is home to so many cool things. We have many run clubs, we have workout classes, we have local boutique coffee shops that host events all the time. But if you're looking for that type of vibe, I would suggest the North Loop or Warehouse District of Minneapolis, Gold Medal Park and surrounding areas. Those would be your best bet at thriving, young, ambitious places that have a lot to offer in terms of things to do, people to meet, and new young businesses. So in conclusion, this is what we're working with. Minneapolis is not for everyone, and we're kind of in a transitionary point. The cost of living advantage is very real. The job market is strong, and the outdoor activities, healthcare, and public education are incredible. The safety situation is genuinely improving, but it's not where we want it to be yet. As for the downsides, the winters are brutal. But with that brutal winter comes very fun opportunities that you can enjoy year round, and comes the most beautiful seasons like fall and spring that you might not experience in every part of the country. We have a lot of construction, especially on the road. We have high taxes. If you're thinking about making the move to Minneapolis, do not stop at this video. I have so many other videos where I take walking tours, pros and cons of certain suburbs, or just break down my favorite things to do in the area. So please feel free to check out my channel, and if this provided you any value, please let me know in the form of a subscribe, like, or comment. It helps me stay motivated to serve you more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.